Welcome into the Convocation Center for another edition of the Wiseman Weekly. My name's Abbey Carnivale, and I'm the host of the Bobcats Sports Showcase. Alongside me is Ohio football reporter Nathan Wiseman. So last week the Bobcats took on Akron. They traveled there, won 14-12. What can you tell me about that game?
Well, it definitely wasn't a pretty game, that's for sure. Rainy, cold, affected the game a little bit. But what really stood out to me was this Ohio defense. They showed up big time and rallied after that Minnesota loss. The passing game was working a little bit for Akron, but they completely shut down their running game, holding Akron at 88 rushing yards on 35 carries. And once again, Quentin Poling stepped up for the injury-stricken OU defense. On Akron's final drive, he took down Tommy Woodson after a short game, then sacked him on second down. He was going to do anything and everything in his power to stop the Zips from catching up on that final drive. He also got his first interception of the year and earned the MAC East Defensive Player of the Week again, so Quentin Poling steps up once again.
So Poling is a huge part of that defense that you mentioned has a ton of injuries, and they're starting to pile up on the Ohio roster. Can you check in with those? What can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, we have a little bit of good news. Javon Johnson, he's been out since, or he hasn't played since that Week 1 game in Idaho. He has been cleared to practice. We don't know if he'll play Saturday, but that is at least a little bit of good news. And then Terrell Basham, he's also been cleared to practice. Not sure if he's going to play. And Casey Sales has also been cleared. He should be good to go. And then we got Darius Vick. He's been bruised up the last couple weeks. He had a elbow injury in that game against Marshall, and then a nagging ankle injury the last few weeks. So Darius is bruised up, but he's continuing to battle and play at a high level. He had to go out for a series, and Greg Wyndham went in. He threw in an interception, so they don't really have a reliable backup right now. So I think if Darius can play, he's going to play on Saturday.
All right, now that we've been updated on Ohio's roster and what's happened the rest of the season, let's start moving forward. So this weekend, Ohio football hosts Miami for not only their homecoming game, but for this year's edition of the Battle of the Bricks. Last year, Ohio just squeaked out with that win with a last-minute field goal by Josiah Izdani. So what do you think is going to happen this year?
Well, yeah, that last-minute field goal was a fantastic game for Ohio. They ended up squeaking out, like you said, 24-21. But the thing is, in the offseason, Miami got a lot younger and OU got a lot stronger. I mentioned that Miami youth. Of their 110 players, 62 of those guys are either freshmen or redshirt freshmen, and that inexperience has definitely been showing so far this year. They haven't won since Week 1 in the season. The Red Hawks have looked pretty bad on defense, giving up 446 yards per game to their opponents, 188 on the ground, 257 through the air. But you know, even though they're 1-4 and 0-3 on the road this year, you got to kind of throw the records out in this game. This is Miami we're talking about. This rivalry is huge every year with the Bobcats. They would like nothing more than to come into Athens and spoil this homecoming weekend for OU. But that's going to be a really tall task against this really tough OU football team.
Okay, so we'll let Ohio and Miami have their tradition. We have a weekly tradition here, so give me the prediction of what you think is going to happen on Saturday.
Well, I think we've gradually been watching the emergence of Poppy White. He's been so explosive the last couple of games. Anytime you need a big play, any kind of explosive play, Poppy has been OU's guy. And I expect him and Daz Patterson to have a huge running game on Saturday as OU will roll 31-9 on Saturday.
Okay, well, these faithful Bobcats want to wish the Red Hawks the best of luck, but it sounds like it's going to be a clear Ohio win. For updates up to the game, you can follow us on Twitter at Bobcat Showcase or give us a like on Facebook. For Nathan Wiseman, my name's Abbey Carnivale, reminding you to fight for the green and white.